Howdy there. A couple nights ago, I saw The Skin I Live In, and it was okay. I think I've pretty much settled on a 6. It's the new Pedro Almodovar film. It's about, it's kind of about a lot. There's a lot of story going on. In a nutshell, it's about a man, a scientist, a mad scientist, if you will, who creates his own person. Not from dead tissue, like Dr. Frankenstein, but from living tissue. I hate spoilers, and I won't do that, but let's just put it that he transforms people into what he wants. So he is a very mad scientist. So just complications arise from that. Again, that's just the basis of the story. All of the exposition, all of the narrative is basically, recapping how we got to this point, showing the evolution of his character, which is just a succession of pain. It's all backstory, it's all character development. You could say that this is Almodovar's horror film. He wanted to make a horror film. More in the tradition of, I guess it would be, the genre is called torture porn. Japanese torture porn, where it's just, like very recently I saw Human Centipede 2. That's very much torture porn. It's basically just gratuitous violence, and torture to, a pornographic extent. Meaning there is nothing left to the imagination. You see everything. It's not actual porn, it's just porn-level exploitation. So this is Almodovar's torture porn film. And it is very hard to watch. Okay. I only know one star. It's a Spanish film. Almodovar is Spanish. He's a Spanish filmmaker. This Spanish film, I don't know any of the actors. One of the older female, the mother of the scientist, seemed familiar. I can place her face a little bit. I bet she's from other Almodovar works. And that's probably where I've seen her. The female lead, I'm not sure of her name. She's absolutely gorgeous, just stunning. And she has a very complicated role. She has to be nude a lot. So props to her. She's just gorgeous. And Antonio Banderas. Antonio Banderas is the lead. He's the mad scientist. Almodovar and Antonio Banderas really kind of helped each other, become famous. A lot of people say Antonio Banderas does his best work with Almodovar, and, people say that Almodovar does his best work with either Antonio Banderas or Penelope Cruz, his two muses. So Antonio Banderas has returned, and he's in this, and he is good. That explains my overall beef with the film, is that it is very methodical. It's very well paced, I guess. Well, I mean, no, it's kind of not. I'll get to that. But everything is so restrained. Everything is so restrained except for the violence and poor decision-making exhibited by the characters. Like, none of the, acting, especially in, like, a horror film, you want to see some, like, genre actory acting going on. I really wanted Antonio Banderas to flip out, to be crazy, mental, insane. And he's not, really. He's just, there's some subtle creepiness to him, but he never chews the scenery like a mad scientist should, and there's really not a scene for him to do that. And that's my overall thing, is there's just no gripping part. It's just all very monotone, and the monotone level is kind of creepy and bizarre and unsettling, but there's still just no up and down. There's no give and take. There is not one, and there are some very suspenseful moments, situations, but there is not 1 ounce of tension developed in the entire film. I never felt nervous. I never felt excited. I never felt scared. I never really felt anything but sad or depressed. Not for me, I wasn't I felt that way for the characters. I was like, oh man, that's terrible. I feel so bad for them. And, that's it. I never felt like I was being manipulated. That, I was just watching this terrifyingly sad story unfold before me. It is absolutely gorgeous. Almodovar is known for that. That's basically who I'm going to recommend this film to, is people who, get off on cinematography, shot composition, lighting. It is very gorgeous. Freeze any frame, looks like a postcard. Gorgeous filmmaking. And that's who I'm really, if you're into that and you want to see a well, constructed film, then go see this. I'm not recommending this to horror fans. I'm not going to recommend it to Antonio Banderas fans. Or maybe I should. It is a decent performance from him. But I just overall am not recommending it. 6 is my cutoff. I could give a thumbs up or a thumbs down to a 6. My thumb is in the middle. I've got no idea. It's definitely not a 7, and therefore a recommendation. It was just very flat. There's other, like, prevalent Almodovar themes. There's strong women. This is about a man, but it's basically how he was affected by the women in his life and the loss of those women. And he still has his mother around, the strong older female. Maybe she's an enabler, and she's, to blame as well. But really the film is about the relationships between men and women. There is a lot of sex in the film. There's a lot of nudity, mostly female. I don't think any man had to go full frontal, where I think like 3 women had to go full frontal. And, it's pretty much known that Almodovar loves women. And maybe this is why I felt this was kind of out of place, because it seemed like there was a lot of exploitation and, hatred's a strong word. I don't want to use hatred, but, just a poor attitude towards women in this. Women take a lot of abuse. But then again, so do the men. So it's a tough call. I mean, there's just everyone in the film does mean things. They're all very mean. And it made it hard for me to relate to it. It didn't seem like anyone in the film was human. They all made really, really bad decisions at every turn. And those decisions were based on vengeance or, at the best case, ignorance. Drugged out, and, ignorance, unaware, and still making terrible decisions. And bad things happen to everyone in the movie. No one gets out, clean. I'm not going to spoil who gets out alive, but no one gets away clean. So many bad things happen. I think I started out with a point there, but there's a lot, and I don't even know if I want to call it eroticism. Like, I wanted to look up in a dictionary the difference, what defines eroticism? Does it have to be sexy, or is it just nudity, or what? Because there is a lot of nudity in the film. There's a lot of sex, but it never is sexy. It's never nice. There's a lot of rape in this film. There's a lot of, not a lot, but there's, gang sex. There's just a lot of sex. And, it it made me feel weird after a while. That there was just that much. And again, never any good decision making going on. So I don't know if I want to call the film erotic. I mean, there's definitely a lot of nudity. There's a lot of nudity and sex, but it's never sexy. It's never sexy or pleasant, really. So that's kind of interesting. Again, I think it's meant to kind of, fit in with that torture porn where it's just like, God, how could I be watching this? This is so, awful for these characters. So again, it's just like this beautifully constructed, beautifully made torture porn film. Takeshi Miike might be proud. I don't really know what else to say about it. I think I hit on everything. The women are very gorgeous, and I have to give it up to the lead actress. I wish I could remember her name. But she's got to be nude for most of it. She's been constructed by this mad scientist to be like this perfect woman, and she looks pretty damn perfect. So she's gorgeous. She's definitely a highlight. You have one of the most beautiful women in the world walking around nude and displayed in, the utmost artistic fashion. That's quality. But I don't know. I just never got into the story. I never felt anything but sad. I never felt... I wanted to feel tension. I wanted to feel wrapped up and tense with the story because it's such a intense situation. And I never felt that. I'm out of time. That's the skin I live in, and I'll give it a 6. Thanks.